Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Ashtaprayasu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, titled Knowledge of the Absolute, and verse number 25. Naham prakas sarvasya yogamaya samavrata mudhoyam nabhijananti lokamam ajavyayam. Naham prakash sarvasya yogamaya samavrata mudhoyam nabhijananti lokamam ajavyayam. Naham prakash sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudhamayam nabhijananti lokamam ajamavyayam. Any Prabhujis or Matajis would like to read?
Naham prakasya sarvasya yogomaya samarvata mudo ayam navijananti lokumam ajam abhayam.
नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगो माया समावृतः मूढो अयं नाभिजानाति लोको माम् अजम् अव्ययम्
नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य जोग माया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम्
नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढो अयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम्
नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं न अभिजानाति लोको माम् अजमव्ययम्.
Word by word meaning. Na, nor. Aham, I. Prakasha, manifest. Sarvasya, to everyone. Yogamaya, by internal potency. Samavritam, covered. Mudha, foolish. Ayam, these. Na, not. Abhijananti, can understand. Loka, persons. Mam, me. Ajam, unborn. Avyayam, inexhaustible. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency. And therefore, they do not know what I am unborn. They do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Anybody would like to read this page of the purport?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. So I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Purport. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? But actually, he was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present there, only a few people who could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the assembly of Kurus, when Shishupala spoke against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported him and proclaimed him to be the supreme god. Similarly, the Pandavas and a few other knew that he was the supreme, but not everyone. He was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, but for his pure devotees, all men consider him to be like themselves.
Anyone else would like to read this page?
He was manifest only to his devotees as the reservoir of all pleasure, but to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, he was covered by his internal potency. In the prayers of Kunti in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.19, it is said that the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand him. This Yogamaya curtain is also confirmed in the Isopanishad mantra number 15, in which the devotee prays.
Yeah, can I read, Prabhuji? You can
Yeah.
read. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapitam mukhyam tatvam puswan aparvurnu satyadharmaya drishtate.
O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and the devotional service to you is the highest religious principle.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else would like to read this page?
Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by the Yogamaya. The Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Satchidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his transcendental form of bliss and knowledge is covered by the internal potency of the Brahma Jyoti, and the less intelligent impersonalists cannot see the Supreme on this account. Also in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.7, there is this prayer by Brahma, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all the mystery, who can calculate your potency and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your internal potency, and therefore no one can understand you. Learned scientists and learned scholars can examine the atomic constitution of the material world or even the planets, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency. Although you are present before them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is not only unborn but also avayaya, inexhaustible. His eternal form is bliss and knowledge, and his energies are all.
Okay. I think that's it. That's it, Prabhu. Are all inexhaustible. Are all inexhaustible. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think we have gone through the purport. Let's now discuss the words. Om Agyana, let's all sing together if you know. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manovitam Swayam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Srikata Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Krishnamanusuti Namami Haripriye Panchakalpataru Vischa Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare So thank you so much for joining and discussing uh, this wonderful, powerful verse from Bhagavad Gita as it is. And here, Lord Krishna is explaining about some of the qualities of the people who understand him and the kind of people who do not understand him. And that is where um, he's saying, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. So he's using the word mudha here. And here he's saying, because for them I'm covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I'm unborn and infallible. So as we have discussed before, as you know, that Lord Krishna, from him, two set of maya or illusion. Ma means, in this example, ma is not, and ya means that. One that is not is maya. That means it is illusion. So there are two forms of maya which emanates, which comes from Krishna, which actually comes from real Krishna. It's yoga maya and mahamaya. Yoga maya is one which brings people or devotees or anyone for that matter closer to Krishna in the form of a devotional service, in the form of being attracted, in terms of being favorable to Krishna. And there is another energy of the Lord, which is Mahamaya, which is actually comes from Krishna actually. It's called Mahamaya. And here Krishna is saying, those who are covered, those people who are covered, those people, Krishna is categorizing them as foolish. When they are covered with Mahamaya potency in this, and when they are covered, they cannot see far enough about my glories. They cannot understand uh, my mystic powers. They cannot understand who I am actually. So here Krishna is explaining that because this two sense of illusory energies have emanated from him, and depending on a person's ability to get attached to the material nature in a way which is not favorable to Krishna, it takes it away from Krishna gradually, and they will never ever understand him. They will never get him, because it is precisely because of the Mahamaya potency of the Lord. And here Srila Prabhupada is explaining, giving the example of Sishupala. You know, Sishupala, he was actually a maternal cousin brother of Lord Krishna. But right from the beginning, he was blaspheming Lord Krishna right from the beginning. And it is not as if the people who do not believe in Krishna are there in this age of Kali. You see, who do not understand and do not understand the practices or the philosophies which is given by Lord Krishna in this beautiful song of God, Bhagavad Gita. During the various yugas, when Lord Krishna came to this world as a person in Dwapar Yuga 5,000 years ago, Shishupal, his own cousin, his own maternal cousin, he was blaspheming him all the time. Duryodhana, his distant relative, he was blaspheming him all the time. So it is not as if this is the age when Krishna had this challenge. When Lord Krishna was going, he was actually a village boy, and in the village boy, people used to love him. People did not think that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Mother Yashoda always thought Krishna is his son, and he has to take care of the son, and he has to take care of the son by giving him food. If she doesn't give food to Krishna, Krishna will have trouble. So there, everybody thought Krishna is one among themselves, and they used to love. And that is where Krishna is expressing that you can know me just by pure love. You really do not want to look me up. You know, he will give me money, he will give me this, that. As long as we have a loving exchange with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I think we have done our bit in understanding this someone, because only love can make somebody understand somebody else. If there is no love, however money, however food, or how many delicacy you put on the table, you will never understand. The only thing where you understand someone is by love. Once upon a time, a Gopa came to Mother Yashoda and said, Mother Yashoda, your son Krishna, he has taken some soil, from, and he has eaten. And Yashodamai got very worried and said, yeah, my son who, took this soil, maybe it will get into the stomach. It's not good. Let me go look. So when Yashodamai went and opened the mouth of Krishna, what does Yashodamai sees? He sees the entire Brahmand, the entire earth. And in this universe, inside Krishna's mouth, he's seeing Vrindavan. And within Vrindavan, she's seeing that she is looking at Krishna's mouth. So within this, the small mouth of Krishna, Mother Yashoda is seeing the entire thing. So, but still, there are Putana, there are Trinavarth, then all those personalities will come. They will always be thinking about Krishna. It's not just Yashodamai thinking about Krishna. Trinavarth is also thinking about Krishna. Putana is thinking about Krishna, but they are thinking in a very unfavorable manner. How to kill them, how to get rid of them, how to hatch plan to, create harm to Krishna. So it is mentioned that there are two kinds of people. The kinds of people who understand and go in favor into understanding me, in trying to recognize that I was there millions of years ago. I'm unborn. I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there is another kind of people. Now in this world also, it's not, because Krishna is explaining it very clearly. The Purna Purushottam Krishna is the first personality which has come, from which the first expansion is Balaram. And then subsequently, you have the Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Hirodakshay Vishnu, and from the Garbhadakshay Vishnu, from the navel, Brahma erupts, and then there are millions and millions of universes which get created, and we happen to be part of this, and every universe has a Brahma, and so on. So people who have understood him, they do not need logic to understand him. The only way you can understand him is through love. Sometimes when we take prasad, we try to look at the nutritious value, we look at the scientific value, and then that is essentially what we understand in the medical term as how. But why that prasad, which happens to be vegetarian, and now when you offer that to the Lord, it becomes precious? It is because it is the essential love which Lord Krishna has put in whenever you offer something, and the remnant, and when Lord Krishna takes it as a bhoga, or Lord Jagannath takes it as a bhoga, the remnant becomes the prasad. So before offering it is bhoga, after offering it is prasad. So the difference is between how and why. It's very simple. But if we want to understand, we will recognize it, we'll offer everything. But if we do not understand it, we will never be taking it. Is so as like Prabhupada said, it is not a question of being vegetarian. We all need to think of how to become Krishnatarian. That vegetarian item, what we are making, if we can offer and partake at the end, we have extended a connection. Lord Jagannath becomes a part of your family. Lord Krishna becomes a part of your family. And you will never let him stay alone in the house. You'll make an attempt to take him with you when you go on your holidays. And whatever you eat, you offer to him. So that is how the loving exchange, or the essence of bhakti, is platforming on. So that's why it is very, and then there are references as to Maharani Kunti's prayers, where Mother Kunti is saying the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand him. So what is meant by ordinary is a person who have not come in contact with a pure devotee. There are many people who are poor, they are very ordinary, but they have come in contact with devotee in their villages or wherever they live, and they have transformed their life by understanding who is the Supreme. It is just a matter of understanding the Supreme based on the knowledge. So when we think about knowledge, right, when we think about how to uh, take the aspect of knowledge. Knowledge doesn't mean trying to be polished and trying to understand logic and trying to figure out what is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. There is a different aspect to recognize knowledge. So let's dive deep into Lord Krishna's discussion here, where Krishna says, the mudhas, the foolish people, they do not understand. So, so when in Mahabharata, there is a very nice exchange between Lord Krishna and Duryodhana. Krishna says, you have been troubling Lord the Pandavas too much. You've tried to burn them, you've tried to poison them, you've tried to trouble them by not even giving their due. You have kind of mistreated them. You also have good knowledge. You have you have taken due education, righteousness education. But why are you doing these terrible things? It is not just a question of the so-called knowledge. It's not as if Duryodhana did not have knowledge. So this is where we need to recognize what is knowledge. So the knowledge, what we think, is reading in the books and trying to find logic in understanding or having a proclamation around a language or having good mastery in engineering. Let's try to understand what is knowledge. So here Duryodhana says, Janma dharma nachema pravriti, janami adharam na chame nivriti. That means, don't tell me about dharma. Duryodhana is saying, I know what is dharma. Don't tell me about adharma, which is wicked act, as I know what is adharma. Knowledge is not my basic problem. Duryodhana is telling to Krishna, during my Gurukul time, everything is taught to me. So he knows the knowledge. But the problem is, I know dharma, yet I cannot get myself to follow it. Everybody knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Jagannath is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it is just that Duryodhanas have gone, but Duryodhanas have stayed back in this world. They cannot get over the fact that they have to follow and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe. Akarshayati Krishna, Krishna. They cannot. And that is the problem. So knowledge, what we think as knowledge, if you put obstinacy in there, your knowledge is totally taken off. So Duryodhana is staying right in front. He just cannot follow dharma. The ability to follow someone, ability to surrender someone, ability to love someone beyond the ability to chant somebody's name. That is transcending your aspect of obstinacy. Most of the time you'll see why there are so many fights which are going on now. It's not as if they don't know the computers, they don't know the algorithms, they don't know maths, they don't know logic. It is sheer obstinacy. And that is exactly what Krishna is trying to point out here, as to once this obstinacy sets in, even if you know what is right, what is wrong, you are not going to give it up. You just cannot stop not following it. You cannot stop not following adharma. You cannot stop following dharma. So at the end of the day, this is not what is right or wrong. It is your ability. It is your ability to make our hearts like the butter of Krishna, so that our heart can melt when somebody is in trouble. When somebody needs help, our heart melts. Duryodhana, that was the main problem. Duryodhana is telling to Rishikesa in this words from Mahabharata that even if you knew everything, he just cannot do it, because he had that element, that veil of ahankar, that when that veil of ahankar is within us, we will never be able to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and punarapi jaranam, punarapi maranam will happen, and we'll just keep coming back here again and again and again. But the day we surrender, everything comes back. Then that is when you recognize who the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how you would work together to make the Supreme Personality of Godhead pleasant, and you will basically line up. That's the reason why you have so many religions in this age, because it's so easy to really tap onto that ahankar everybody has, and that is why people are making money from trying to manage this ahankar all the time, and that is the reason why they try to fuel the fire and they try to divide people. But at the end of the day, what Prabhupada is saying, it's transcending everything. Srila Prabhupada was there in India. He tried to, create so many, create, the good, the Back to Godhead magazine, and but his spiritual master wanted him to come and preach in the English speaking countries. So when he came here, he had a lot of difficulty. His entire life till 69 years, till he came here to Boston, to United States, and then he came to New York City to open ISKCON. His life was full of preparation. That 69 years he prepared, and for the next 12 years he executed. Actually, if you think about it, the real work Prabhupada started at the age when everybody else would have retired and is resting in their garden, eating whatever they're supposed to eat. But the real work Srila Prabhupada started because he felt how these people are not exposed to this Vedic concepts, which can really transcend and which can really help them in understanding who they are and who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what is the relationship between them. And once Srila Prabhupada came, translated these Vedic books are now textbooks in many European countries. And without Srila Prabhupada's help, this would not have happened at all. The way this Krishna consciousness, the festival of chariot, which really spread like a forest fire everywhere, it wouldn't have happened. People wouldn't have understood the love for Godhead the way Srila Prabhupada presented it. Because unless we get rid of this ahankar, once this discussion started, people realize the difference between knowledge with ahankar or knowledge with obstinacy and knowledge without obstinacy, which is essentially what this verse is talking about. So as you can see in this pictures, tomorrow is Balram Jayanti, Lord Balram, who is Haldhar, which is holding a gada and a plow in this picture. And here, Lord Balram is delivering Mother Yamuna. And here, Balram is enjoying with Krishna during his Gopa herding pastimes. But this is a picture which I really want to focus on. Here, Krishna, who is here, he is massaging the feet of Balram. And Balram, the elder brother, is sitting with all the Gopas and he's enjoying a massage by his younger brother Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first expansion of Krishna is Balram. Without Krishna, Balram is incomplete. Without Balram, Krishna is incomplete. And the only place you will find both of them, along with their sister, is Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, where Balram is on the beside Subhadra Mai, and Krishna or Jagannath is in the other side. So here, Lord Krishna is saying, Name partharthi kartavyam trishu lokesu kinchana nanavaptam avaptayam varta eva cha karmani. So Krishna is saying, O son of Pritha, he's referring to Arjuna. O Arjuna, there is no work prescribed for me because he's the creator of this universe. All the three planetary systems are created by me. So there is no work for me. I basically engage my chief technology officers or my chief financial officers who are heading the department, who are heading the construction department, the design department, the water department. Because as you have seen in second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that all these different departments have a demigod attached to it, have a deity attached to it. So nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything. See, he is not responsible, he is not answerable, he is not accountable to anybody. But finally he says, yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Sorry. So this is a very interesting thing, because Krishna is saying, if I end up doing nothing, it will still work. But what will people understand by virtue of my actions? So I have to showcase my actions based on my prescribed duties, so that when people recognize my pastime, if they have not understood me as the God, but at least they will recognize that he has done some action. He has done herding of the cows, because as part of the Varnashram Dharma, he is supposed to herd the cows. And that is why Krishna says, I'm engaged in prescribed duties. So the prescribed duties is the main thing. Krishna is not supposed to do anything. Trishu lokesu kinchana. That means he is the master of all the three, planetary systems. He doesn't have to do anything. But if he doesn't do the prescribed duties, what will people make out from his pastimes? What will people learn from his pastimes? That is the reason why, when you think about the obstinacy and thinking about the prescribed duties, what really comes out is devotional service. Because you may have the lack of surrender attitude because of obstinacy, even if you are knowledgeable enough, but you end up doing devotional service. You clean the temple, you clean the dishes in the temple, you help in the festivals, you do something which is very positive in cleansing your thoughts. You would not end up doing prajalpa or talking about somebody else or blaspheming somebody, but you end up cleansing this anartha by doing some devotional service in the temple. And gradually, by doing devotional service in the temple, this obstinacy which Duryodhan had, which a lot of people in this world have, it will go away. And what Krishna is explaining, that even if he is the Lord of everybody, he is the Lord of the universe, he is still engaging in the prescribed duty, because by doing the prescribed duty, he is setting a tone that we all have to do devotional service. The devotional service will get the obstinacy in our life away, and at the same time, it will give us an opportunity to follow the Varnashram Dharma, which is essentially the prescribed duties. And during the prior chapters, we have discussed about the Varnashrama Dharma, the x-axis, the y-axis, the Varna and Ashrama, and what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do. And if we end up doing the prescribed duty and do some devotional service, it will get the ahankar out. And that's the reason why you'll see that, in ISKCON or whenever, there are people who like the process, but that element of surrender doesn't sink in him. They do not, immediately try to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the reason why they do not join. They don't know very much that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they will not end up, changing to a dhoti, because it basically give them that element of inhibition, that by wearing a dhoti, I would be really trying to, go against my social prescriptions. And gradually, when you recognize that these things are Vedic injunctions and there is absolutely no harm in doing it, and basically, the regulation, our acharyas have prescribed, it is so well documented and to be followed in a very nice way, then you will definitely start thinking about chanting the holy name, associating with devotees. So it starts with the ABCD, as we all know. It starts with association, then we start reading books, and then started getting into some discussion forums, and then you do the chanting of the holy name every day morning or whenever you have time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And gradually, by doing this, and then D being the diet. So association books, chanting, and diet by eating the prescribed duty from. So you try to start eating, vegetarian, and then you become Krishnatarian. Then you start eating only after offering. Then that is a gradual process which is recommended everywhere, and that is going to help us in understanding the Vedic injunctions. And then what Krishna is saying here is the people who do not understand are the mudhas. They are then will start thinking that as Krishna has given the prescription that the people who do not understand our certain category, we will certainly think about surrendering onto him and start to grow that knowledge, grow that knowledge. That's why Srila Prabhupada said, don't read my books, study my books. Because if you see the cross reference between Srila Prabhupada's commentary in various different places, it is so clear, it's so crystal clear. You can't think of any other book which give you the kind of impression of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and open our eyes to the Vedic injunction like reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So with that, I would like to end here. What a powerful verse. So I would like to open up for some discussion, and then we have a wonderful program in the temple today, and also tomorrow we have Shri Balram Jayanti, where Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra will be adorned with a wonderful Vesha, which is the first time that Vesha is going to be adorned in our temple. So very auspicious activities in and so with that, I'd like to end here. For your questions or comments. If you would like, please share. It's very good to hear from you and understand your perspective, and then we can discuss a little bit, and then we'll end. Any question or comments, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class as always. I have a small question. So generally, morning time, actually, I have kind of very like high spirit on devotional service, but as the day progresses, right, slowly that spirit, gets reduced actually. So Prabhuji, so I know this is very silly actually, but I just want to know, like, how to maintain that equal spirit like throughout the day, so that because after I log in my office work, I was totally busy there, and slowly evening time also, I am not getting that spirit, that morning spirit okay, that I have actually. So how to maintain the same spirit like throughout the day?
So thank you so much, Prabhu. You are not alone, because they say morning is the Brahma Muhurta, and that is when you do not have the kind of meetings, do not have the kind of arguments you would end up having in a college or a or a or a office atmosphere. So that's why the mind is very free. So at the time, when whatever you read, whatever you chant, it kind of sticks, and that's the purest form of the in absorption, which can really change your life. But as the day progresses, our mood uh, changes. So what I have seen, Prabhu, what Krishna conscious people end up doing during the lunchtime, in order to not give it up too much into this, because at any point in time, as you know, we are controlled by the three modes of material nature: the mode of goodness, sattvic; mode of uh, mode of passion, rajasic; and mode of ignorance, tamasic. So at any point in time, as as the day progresses, from sattvic it will transcend to rajasic, and as the night approaches, from rajasic it becomes tamasic. So it is a function. So what people do is, during the lunchtime, what they do is they go for a walk and they try to chant, or they hear some Krishna bhajan, Jagannath bhajan during lunchtime, so that as the onset of rajasic comes in and sattvic is on the way out, then you get into the mode of goodness constantly, or talk to a devotee friend, how he's doing, or read some wonderful Krishna conscious material which is shared in our WhatsApp groups, in different WhatsApp groups, to kind of just keep your focus aside, so that as the Maya um, we try to grappling with the Maya, that gives you an opportunity to unshackle yourself. So read during your leisure some snippets, some books. Try to sort of chant between, if you think it's helping, so that you constantly come back, because this is your constitutional position. For some reason, Maya has taken over, and Maya thinks that's her constitutional position. So you have to. So it's a constant tussle at every step of the way. I try to eat something which is uh, you know, which doesn't give you gas, or some tamasic, or whatever, not spicy. So those are some of the practices people have laid out. So these are generally some thumb rules I can share, Prabhu, but others can share as well. Does that help, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I actually try to read some uh, Bhagavad Gita verses, or maybe any kind of lectures from the previous acharyas, right? I try to hear some of the videos, but yeah, but generally it's not maintaining. Like today I do, but tomorrow again I try to sleep that. Again I try to do day after tomorrow. It's not I'm not maintaining it consistency. One day I'm doing, but next day I'm again forgetting, and next day tomorrow again I'm doing. So like that actually it is happening. Yeah. But I need to be maintained in a consistency way, so that yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all Vaishnavas. Prabhuji, just extension of what you exactly mentioned. There is nothing new I'm going to tell, but just some practical how I face, how we overcome. As Prabhuji has mentioned, our day is divided. Krishna has made the day by default into mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness, right? So that's why Brahma Muhurta is generally classified as mode of goodness. If you see practically, you absorb more, even in your material education, you absorb more during the morning times. That's why the shlokas and the mantras they used to recite in the morning, right? So our day is definitely, there is nothing we can do that, as Prabhuji mentioned, we cannot change the characteristic of the time of the day at that time, with which mode is controlling it basically, right? So as the mode is controlling, few pointers which our acharyas have given is that if you chant in the morning, what happens is that it extends your mode of goodness basically. It extends, Prabhuji. And two, another aspect is, no matter what, we get bogged down by the material and the official, we get entangled, no, even if we don't want to also, right? So the best thing is to take away our mind from that. So what, again, this acharyas have told, what is best is to listen, because if you try to read Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji, you still have to pay attention. You have to have your, you have to apply your intellect to understand the text, right? Though Prabhupada has explained it very lucidly, but still we put. So the easy and the practical way is that pick up any interesting lecture or whatever, bhajan, whatever fascinates you, Prabhuji. Whether it's a lecture, bhajan, or a discussion, that will definitely help you, Prabhuji. If you listen, even while walking, you can listen. It is an exercise, as well as you are trying to let not that mode at that point of time dominate your mood, right? The characteristic of that time is, if it is afternoon, it is passion. If it is evening, we are transitioning in from passion, ignorance, and in the night it goes to ignorance. That's why Prabhupada has recommended that read Bhagavad Gita in the morning and Bhagavatam in the evening. I think I reversed it. He has given a pointer there also. But keep the reading aside, Prabhuji, because at least I find sometimes hard to digest things. Though I may read, as Prabhuji has told, I may not study it. I may read it. So do these two things, Prabhuji: chant and listen to the lectures. Or suppose you don't want to listen to the lecture, what this is recorded, what Prabhuji is, you can repeat that 7 days part, and then you will digest more, Prabhuji. That way you will absorb that more, and it brings you more interest in researching further. You may think, okay, this. And two, Krishna always tells that in Bhagavad Gita is clearly told that he lights the lamp of the knowledge. If you make the endeavor, he will give you the light. He will light that knowledge in you, how to overcome that mode of passion, and he will tailor it for you, for your nature and for our nature. What is our inherent nature? What is our inherent nature? He tailors it for us. I just want to. These are same points which Him Jagannath Prabhu has told, but different perspective.
Very nice, Prabhu. Very nice point towards the end. You touched on this wonderful concept. So we think, see, if you see the people who have taken to devotional service, they were not, they are not really PhDs, or there are people who have less knowledge in terms of the material knowledge. But so what Krishna is saying is, in order to understand Krishna, it has to be sanctioned by Krishna. So what it means is, Desam Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogatam Yenamam Upatayanti. That means you start the devotion service, you start chanting, the intelligence what is needed, that is also going to come from Krishna. So to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna chooses to reveal himself the way he wants. So what we are just trying, sometimes we fail big time. Sometimes I also have challenges through. But just pray to Krishna that, hey, Lord Krishna, give me something. I'm constantly sort of looking for ways to chant your name properly, do devotional service. So he will give you the understanding, as so beautifully mentioned by himself, Krishna himself. So as and Srila Prabhu and Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu also touched on another reference where Krishna will start intelligence to propel our bhakti. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else would like to comment on anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Sorry for joining late, Prabhuji. I was having my lunch and I didn't realize it was time for Bhakti Vriksha until I finished it. Sorry.
No problem.
Prabhuji, same. I want to just tell that it is the why we are mudas. Why we are mudas is why we are obstinate. We are obstinately mudas, basically. One, by characteristic of the Kali Yuga, and two, by the karmic karmic what we carried over, basically the karmic effects. Okay, what we carried over, because of that we are bound to be mudas. So what the fundamental reason is, as you have explained, Prabhuji, it is false ego. It's always a false ego. So why we get that false ego is because how we can overcome the false ego is because we try to put ourselves in the front and Krishna somewhere in the back, or somewhere not even in the close vicinity. That is a fundamental example. For example, Prabhuji, we get angry, right? When we get angry, if we try to chant the Mahamantra, our anger will subside. No, but we want to express our anger in somehow or other form, right? So we never think of Krishna that time.
Right.
So naturally, we become mudas that time, and we try to be Godas. What Prabhupada always tells. Godas means we are the servants of our senses, right? Prabhuji, Prabhupada always says that you, as Prabhuji has mentioned, we will not try to be Goswami's day one, right? As we have discussed earlier, we are going at 360 miles per hour. You can't take a sudden U-turn. You have to slow down, and somewhere you have to take an exit and take a U-turn, right? Similarly, we have to transcend. Basically, we have to transition from Godas to Goswami, and the fundamental problem, the main problem for that is our false ego. We put the body first. Means we think we are in bodily consciousness, right? That is why we have that. And when the bodily consciousness is taken over, like, then we don't recognize Krishna, because we explode our ego so much that we think that we are always correct, right? We are always we are I. With the I comes into the I becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and Krishna becomes smaller and it goes minuscule somewhere. So that's where all the problems start. That's where, as Prabhuji gave the example of who is that Prabhuji in Mahabharata?
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana and Shishupal.
Shishupal.
They had the privilege of associating with Krishna directly, right? We are just we can also experience through our inner soul, super soul, but they experienced there, but still they didn't recognize because of the false ego. So that is our fundamental issue of being a Muda, and the practical way is that try to keep our false ego in the back and try to keep Krishna in the front. And the way, as Prabhuji explained, ABCD is the best way to do that, and we should continue that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Any other comments or questions? Ashish, Karuna, Jagannath Prabhu, Sridhar Prabhu, Mataji, Hansa Mataji, Priti Mataji. Any thoughts or you want to share or about the verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Yeah, sometimes when chanting the mantra, I feel sleep. What to do?
Mataji, I was thinking about it. You had asked that question when we were doing Bhakti Vrikshan Temple. Can I recommend something if you don't mind?
Yeah. Sure.
Mataji, why don't you chant while walking? So during the lunchtime, after you do your chores, in addition, what you can do is you can just take the mala and just go around your complex, your housing complex or apartment complex, wherever, and just chant. You won't get this. I understand, Mataji. We all are trying, and we all have health challenges. So just walk and chant, Mataji. It'll go away, Mataji. If you try and let us know the results, that will be helpful. Sometimes this question is asked, and if you did some tuning or trick in changing the lifestyle to do it, please share with us later as to what worked and what didn't work. Probably I have seen many devotees in Woodbrook Corners in Edison walking and chanting, and I think they enjoy it also. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Any other comments?
Yes, Prabhu, the very, very wonderful class today. You lucidly described everything, and Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu already gave the important points about that, about how to become from Godas to Goswami. So this is a slow process. That is correct. But now my question is, Prabhu, there is a two type of Maya. One is Yogomaya potency and another is Mohamaya potency. So anyway, anyway, we are under the Maya, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we are under the Maya. Yes.
So, but you mentioned that Maya means Ma means which is not.
Right,
That means
right.
illusion.
Mhm.
Illusion. That means you are talking about the Jogo Maya also. That is nothing there. That is absolute, right?
Yes, yes. So Yogamaya is so the within the Yogamaya, as the table, the flow chart we discussed some time back, the Yogamaya, where the three Satchit Anand potencies of the Lord is uh, is used. As you can see in that pastime of Brahma Bimohan Lila. If you see, you all may have known, Brahmaji tried to sort of steal the cows and calves, and he hid it. But actually, because he couldn't understand the Krishna, who is like a cowherd boy, can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna manifested himself in the cows and in the gopas, and like that it went on for a year actually. So Brahma hid everybody in the Kamandalu, but all the cowherd boys and the cowherd calves, when they came back, they they were in ample love with their parents. They are in ample love to the cow mothers who give a lot of milk. So so in that pastime, even if there was uh, as an aspect of goodness, because Krishna is Achinta Bheda Bheda. So that means it's very inconceivable to understand Krishna. So even in the good aspect of it, so sometimes what happens, Maya, because of this Maya, this universe is created in such beautiful way. Mother Durga has taken the permission from the Lord to create this beautiful world. So we are actually within the Maya. So now we can go two ways. So staying within the confines of Maya to do devotional service, I would call it Yoga Maya, where in this association of so many difficulties, as Niranjan Sahu Prabhu mentioned, we are still able to end up doing devotional service. So, so there is a constant challenge and there is a constant fight. So, but Krishna is absolute. Everybody else, they are imperfect. Krishna is perfect. So we are Prakriti, Krishna is Purusha. So in that aspect, we have to deal with imperfect things to lead or gradually lead towards a gradual perfection life. So what I mean by that is there is a challenge in in our day-to-day world, even if with our positive thinking, because we are constantly captured by the three modes. So that's the reason why Yoga Maya is a favorable Maya. Is see, any food you eat will give you some side effects, but food is needed for you for your nourishment. If no food is absolutely all 100% good, there is something negative. So all I'm trying to say is this Maya is actually is think of Maya not just the way I kind of said it, one which is not. Think of Maya as the energy of the Lord. So Maya is actually the energy of the Lord. Okay, so there are good energy, there are bad energy. So in that aspect, I would like to answer your question, Prabhu. Okay.
Yes, yes. Very good, Prabhu. Yes,
Yeah.
that's uh,
Yeah.
that's
So
correct.
Right. So we have the internal energy of the Lord, the Satchitanand, the external energy of the Lord, which is Mahamaya, and then there is marginal energy of the Lord, who are us, who are the people like Jivas like us. So Krishna has three energies. We talked about external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy. So all the energies need to be used in a favorable manner for Krishna or Lord Jagannath, as as many festivities are coming. So we have to be favorable. That's all. Okay, bro.
Yes, yes, got it.
So any
Thank,
other comments, Prabhu?
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Very
Yeah,
helpful.
probably one comment from a constructional perspective of this universe also, Prabhuji, in Bhagavatam, Ashish Prabhu's question, this whole universe, the material universe I'm talking about, the material universes are um, are uh, the seed of these material universes is the false ego, which is the Maya, basically, as you told, is an energy of the Lord, but it is under the spell of the Maya only. The whole material universe, any material universe you take, even the Brahmaloka, is under. So constructionally also we are under the spell of Maya, Prabhuji. And as Prabhuji has explained, it is like the electromagnetic waves in our telecommunication, Prabhuji. They are everywhere. Only when we have got a certain receiver, we can tap them and make into a necessary waves as like for telephone or radio or TV, whatever, basically, right? So similarly, the Yoga Maya is there. Only thing is, through our endeavor, we have to tap into that Maya and get the energy out of it. It is available, but we should be capable of, we should be those receivers to do that. And for that only Prabhupada has given this Krishna consciousness to elevate ourselves to be able to be good receivers of that Yoga Maya which is existing. Otherwise we are in this whole sphere of Mahamaya, basically, which is the domination one. So naturally we will get those waves, not the few electromagnetic waves which are also there. So so constructionally it is, that's what I want to tell Prabhuji. This universe is constructionally also Maya only.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Very
Thank you.
nice.
Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other comments, Prabhu? Very nice discussion. This is exactly what we're looking for. This is a discussion forum. Bhagavad Gita is actually a discussion between Krishna and Arjuna with few other players who, like Dhritarashtra and Sanjay, but the main actors. So the discussion forum of Bhagavad Gita has been extended to a Bhakti Vriksha here, where we are discussing the same thing again and again. As we discuss more and more and more about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we'll get more bliss again and again and again. So keep coming up with questions and comments, and we all are at different steps in this sadhana process. We're not perfect, way to go for all of us, but at least we get an opportunity to discuss the glories. We're not discussing about anything which is mundane. We're discussing something which is transcendental, which is millions and millions of years old. It's not like a Pluto planet which ceased to be a planet and now once again it is back again as a planet. We're talking about Bhagavad Gita as it is. So keep churning more and more, and it is going to give us more bliss more and more. So any other comments or question? Otherwise we'll end here. So a couple of announcements. Tonight at 7 o'clock we have the Brahmotsav program, the appearance of Radha Shyam Sundar 6 years ago on this day, and tomorrow the extension of Brahmotsav continues into Balram Jayanti with Krishna Balram Vesh of Lord Balram. There are Abhishek planned for Lord Balram and Lord Krishna in the temple. Tomorrow, the Krishna Kathamrita festival, the 4-part exclusive series on some of the brightest topics by the brightest speakers are going to descend through Zoom at 9 o'clock EST, 9 to 10:30, starting from tomorrow You might have heard about Jagannath Shravan Festival. During one of the Jagannath Shravan Festival, our Zoom limit got broke. We had more than 100 people. Even with our live YouTube channel, we got more than 100 people. Now we made our YouTube capacity to 300. So more on the lines of the 5 beautiful Jagannath Shravan Festival, we have 4 seasons, 4 week of Krishna Kathamrita festival starting tomorrow with His Holiness Jayadutta Swami Maharaj speaking about the appearance of Balram. And there are then there is Amarendra Prabhu, then there is His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, and then finally it will be the Madhavananda Prabhu speaking from Jagannath Puri Dham. He has stayed in Odisha more than many people who are here. He is an American who has been staying in Odisha for the last 30 years. He's more, and he will be speaking on the 4th, on the day or around the same time as Radhastami. So 4 wonderful Krishna Kathamrita Festival speakers lined up for the next 4 Sundays. Then we have Janmashtami on Monday, the 30th, followed by Srila Prabhupada's appearance day on the 31st, the next day. So some very wonderful lineup of programs there. So please join. We'll have thousands and thousands of devotees attending our temple during this time. So if our temple needs some service, don't hesitate to extend your hand, because it's the devotional service which will get rid of all this ahankar we spoke about. And that's really a practical application of the theory we have been discussing about. So with that, I'd like to end here. If there is no other question, we'll want to offer our respectful obeisances on the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas by saying,
Mancha. Vaishnavibhyo namo.
Jai Honorable Vishnu Binda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.